comes to governance in Nigeria, who can you trust? The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the leading professional body dedicated to enhancing corporate governance and public administration. When it comes to legal, financial, compliance and governance, we will be right by your side. From boardrooms to administrations, we are in the know. ICSAN certification is internationally recognized, enhancing your professional status and your knowledge of governance. We are located in various states in Nigeria. From certification, practice and continuous development, ICSAN is available to work with you. Our skills include board evaluation, corporate governance, audits, business process engineering, insolvency practice, business registration, and consultancy. How do you become a member? Visit the Institute's website, www.icsan.org, for more information. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
Welcome, everybody, distinguished members, leaders of ICSAN, to this podcast. We are so delighted to have Mr. Toluope Sonaike here with us. I'm going to be reading his brief profile and we get right into it. I want to congratulate everyone as we count down to ICSAN at 60. It's been a flurry of activities, impactful, and fun. A lot of learning points from Port Harcourt to Abuja to Kano to Akwa Ibom. And now we are preparing for the grand finale in October. So welcome everyone. Really honored to have Mr. Toluope Sonaike here. Mr. Sonaike is a seasoned lawyer with nearly 3 decades of experience in commercial and corporate law practice, regulation and public sector governance, complemented by an early background in journalism and communication. His career is marked by sustained leadership in legal form, regulatory innovation, institutional compliance. Toluope works at the Corporate Affairs Commission. He has served in several strategic leadership roles within the Commission, where he has constantly provided high-level legal, policy, and regulatory support. As the head of the Lagos State Office and subsequently his special duties at the head office, Toluope played a critical role in national business environment reforms. He provided expert legal support to the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, Secretariat, and the Senate Technical Committee on the review of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, contributing significantly to the repeal of the old CAMA 1990 and enactment of the 2020 Act. In recognition of his outstanding contribution to legislative reform, Toluope was awarded the PEBEC Special Recognition Certificate for Legislative Reform as a Reform Champion for the Commission in 2023, presented by the then Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, ACISAN, GCON. He also provided critical legal leadership in the upgrade of the company registration portal into a fully end-to-end electronic registration, and so many accomplishments at the PAC beyond. And of course, Toluope is deeply engaged in professional services. He is the first vice chairman of the Corporate and Regulatory Council Committee of the MBA section on business law, and a member of the Governance Practitioner Committee of ICSAN. Right now, Tolu heads the Registry Department, the heartbeat of the Commission. He was, before his current appointment, the head of Compliance Department. And, oh my goodness, these are glowing profiles, roles, and leadership that you've demonstrated. And I want to say congratulations for your journey, for how inspiring it has been. Reading your profile is so heavy and intimidating. Welcome, Mr. Toluope Sonaike. It's good to have you here with us today. Yeah, I'm taking a pause for you to acknowledge my greetings.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So good to have you, Mr. Sonaike.
Thank you very
Permit
much.
me to call
Happy
you
to be here.
Toluope.
Thank you for the purpose of this broadcast. So we'll go right into this. We want to start with a glowing attribute partnership that ICSAN has always enjoyed with the CAC, and of course, the evolution of our relationship. The relationship between ICSAN and the Corporate Affairs Commission has evolved significantly over the years. And I want to ask in your view, what has made this relationship particularly valuable?
Yeah, thank you. My earliest recollection of any engagement with the institute, that's ICSAN, is sometime around the year 2010. Then I had a senior colleague and staff of the commission who mentioned to me that he had a speaking engagement, with the institute. And then later I got to know that we in fact had another colleague as a member of the institute. She's now a fellow. She's been a fellow for a while, and from that one member today, I mean, when we're talking about evolution, we have a number that is on the north side of 40, of our staff members who are also members of the institute, and a few of them as fellows. So, I mean, this growth, right, would no doubt have deepened the commission's relationship with the institute, as more of our people, more of our staff, and then the commission becomes aware of the role of the institute and its value addition to CAC as a regulator. So this is particularly when you understand that CAC, is responsible for administering the Act, that is the Companies and Allied Matters Act. And then its principal function, there are others, but its principal function is to administer and supervise the formation, the incorporation, the administration, the governance, of body corporates. And that will include companies, and by CAMA 2020 now, limited liability partnerships, and incorporated trustees, as well as ensure that all these bodies, all these business arrangements, comply with the requirements of the law. And the institute itself, being the hub of corporate governance in Nigeria, over time, the Commission has come to realize its strategic role and appreciated its partnership.
Awesome. I like that. You've given us, the history of even the membership partnership, and of course, the more strategic partnership with the Commission as a whole. So thank you for that. From one individual to 40, and we're still counting. We're really happy to have you on board. And it gives a lot of credibility and just warmth and sweetness to be associated with the leaders of the Corporate Affairs Commission. It gives credibility, it gives visibility, and of course, it gives us that, yes, we are definitely in the right community and vice versa. So thank you. And then there's something that I'm very passionate about because I was part of this. During the COVID-19 pandemic, ICSAN developed a guidance paper on the proprietary of holding virtual meetings. And this was subsequently adopted by the CAC. I remember this was a significant development during the presidency of Bode Ayeku, ACIS. So looking back now, what significance do you attach to that collaboration, particularly in demonstrating how a professional institute and a regulator can jointly respond to an unprecedented challenge? Before you answer, remember how there was a few predictions that we're not going to make it, that Africa was going to go on that. There's all sorts of predictions, but that stood out because it just synced and, gave us some harmony and peace, if I must add, in our regulatory and operational environment. What will you say?
Thank you. We'll all agree that the COVID-19 pandemic was a defining period universally across business landscapes, not just in Nigeria, universally everywhere. It came, nobody was prepared for it. It challenged businesses, it challenged how we perceive doing business, it challenged how regulators, regulate the business landscape. So it forced a change in global perception, on an approach to conducting business and regulating businesses. So it was a period that challenged every economy, the economic versatility in different jurisdictions. Nigeria not been an exception. Right. In the context of companies and the law, the concern around the business community then was, how do we continue business? And without undermining legal obligations. How do you balance meeting obligations, legal statutory obligations, with safety concerns? Don't forget that at that time, there were concerns about the spread, controlling the spread of the virus. And so because of that concern, that health hazard, there were regulatory restrictions. People could not gather. And then where they allowed gathering over time, there was a number to gathering. And yet the law says that companies must hold their meetings continually, by in some instances prescribes timeline for the meeting. And the law also forbids that you disenfranchise anybody from participating in that meeting. And here we were. You couldn't, Lagos that first rolled out numbers about who could gather, pegged it at 50.
Yeah.
And then we had PLCs who must actually hold these meetings, whose members would exceed 50. So that was the concern at the time. So while we were struggling to see how we could evolve, regulations around that. It was very, very comforting for us and assuring that the Professional Institute, like the ICSAN, was also thinking, along the same lines. Was quick to realize, to also understand that, look, this situation will present challenges for companies, particularly public companies. Businesses must continue. And then the obligation of the law within the context of our challenge must also be fulfilled. So at that time, when the Institute came up with that, right, it was very, very comforting for us. So it was something that was easy for us to, ideate around, discuss, and then run with. And we agree that it actually helped. It demonstrated really how professional groups and trade groups should collaborate with regulators in times of challenges, in times of difficulties. It also underscores the commitment of ICSAN, to doing business in Nigeria, promoting corporate governance without compromising integrity, without compromising statutory obligations. So that's what ICSAN did at that time. It was only ICSAN that rose to the aid of the commission at that time, and that was the only time that ICSAN did that. I also remember that beyond the COVID, when interestingly, CAMA 2020 was passed in the COVID year. It was passed, signed into law October 7th, of 2020, right? But the application did not start. We did not start the implementation until January 1, 2021, to allow time to transition both technologically and administratively. Now, I recall that one of the challenges we faced transitioning was Section 124, that required, by CAMA 2020, the minimum shareholder requirement for companies changed. For private companies from 10,000, it moved to 100,000. And for public companies from 500,000, it moved to 2 million naira. Now, there were a lot of companies who, under 1990, just satisfied the barest minimum provided by the law. So under 1990, we had companies that were operating with 10,000, with 20,000, 30,000 share capital. And for public companies, we had those who were operating with less than 2 million naira. So, and then the law said, look, you must transition within 6 months. There was that transitional provision in Section 124. But the challenge again was that for small company, mom and pop businesses, that was an easy thing to do. You could just sit down and just pass a resolution, come and file, and that was fine. But for the more complex, and elaborate businesses, particularly the big ones and the public limited companies, 6 months wasn't time enough for them to transition. A lot of them would need to discuss with their members, with their shareholders on these things, and the shareholders have to sit down and meet and then take a decision. So that would require a lot more than 6 months. I also recall that it was ICSAN that engaged the commission, on how do we allow more time for this to happen.
Exactly.
I recall again that we had a Zoom engagement at that time, where ICSAN also mobilized members to attend, and there were also members from other institutions, institutional, professional institutes that attended, where we discussed it and we shared our own ideas. At the end of the day, what happened? The CAC under the law had powers to determine penalties. Now, because we could not amend the law by regulation, right? What we did was to say, okay, 6 months will still apply. The provisions of the law will apply, no problem. But what we can do on our part is to remit penalties. Since we have powers to determine penalties, we don't have powers to extend the time provided by the law. We said, no problem. That time will still start, but we'll prescribe zero penalty for that period. Until the end of 2022, so that the application of the penalty came into force 1st January 2023. So in other words, from 6 months, we were able to expand the time for penalizing for any infraction to 2 years. That's an additional 18 months. I remember that it was at the instance of the institute. And that tells you, that just shows you that ICSAN is always concerned for the business landscape and responsible regulation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for those, glowing compliments. And this will lead me to the next question. What makes a relationship more strategic is when the parties are involved. Parties are involved on both the operational and the strategic level. So I would like you, as a key stakeholder, right, a senior leader of the CAC, and also a valuable member of ICSAN, tell us how we can elevate this relationship to make it more strategic, not just ad hoc like you've described. So there are moments where there are issues and we intervene, but in your own perspective, how can we make this collaboration better so that we elevate the Nigerian corporate governance and business environment as stakeholder regulator, as a professional institute regulator?
Thank you. I'll just again layer on what I had said earlier. We appreciate this strategic partnership. It's really working and it's yielding results. It's a partnership that works. I'm particularly, maybe I'm biased towards ICSAN. Well, again, I have no apologies for that. Yeah. Now, there are yet many areas where regulations are desirable. We have been making regulations and all of that. We keep making regulations where they are necessary. But there are yet many areas under the Act where regulations are desirable. I only talk about one or two. I know that a notable one is in the area of insolvency practice. This is there's a great concern, not just with the CAC, but with other professional groups. For instance, I'm aware that the Business Recovery Insolvency and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria, that's BRIPAN, is keenly interested in this area. I'm talking about developing rules of conduct, what you call ethics, right? The CAMA under 2020, that's the extant law, somehow constituted the commission into a regulatory body of some sort, for insolvency practice and insolvency practitioners authorization, what we refer to commonly as accreditation. But then the persons who may be so accredited, who may also be so authorized to practice as insolvency practitioners, they traverse many professional groups. They cut across many professional groups, right? So some people argue that insolvency is not a profession. Perhaps it is a practice, but yet there are professionals across other groups, that can be accredited, that are eligible to practice as insolvency practitioners. You have the Nigerian Bar Association, you have the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, you have the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, of course the BRIPAN, and then ICSAN, right? Now, each of these groups, for those who have bothered to develop one, they have their different rules for their members, and those rules they vary from group to group. So it's not like there's a unified code of conduct, right? Now, this portends a problem for the practice of insolvency in Nigeria, right? So this is one area where we urgently need a body of rules, you can call them ethics, of conduct that will be common to all insolvency practitioners so that there's a standard. To introduce standardization into the practice of insolvency in Nigeria, right? So this is one area that we need partners to work with. So I believe that ICSAN is in a place to also play a critical role here. That would further deepen our relationship and the collaboration, making it more strategic and more value adding. Now, another area that I would like to see some kind of intervention from the ICSAN is with regards to development of procedural rules, court rules for company administration of companies. Now, Kama 2020 introduced that as part of, as one of the insolvency mechanisms, right? Now, section 548, I think, 548 subsection 2 empowers the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria to make rules of procedure for administration. Just like what we had under the 1990 Kama, when you talk about winding up rules. Yeah, even that needs to be updated. Now, there is a similar enablement, so to say, for the Chief Judge to make rules of court for company administration. This is 5 years down the line. Since we started implementing the act, we don't have those rules. So, I mean, if ICSAN can also use its cloud, right, to, intervene with the Federal High Court and the Office of the Chief Judge, to see how we can work together, can bring all of us together to the table to then see how we can develop or assist the court, to come up with these rules. Because, yes, truly, maybe not too many matters are going to court in this area, but they will go to court eventually. So the court has to be prepared. That is another area where I think the institute can play a very, very strategic role.
Absolutely. Thank you, because these are real strategic. I can assure you that there are things that we'll take up and pursue. You may even be.
Thank you.
We may be coming back to you to lead one of the conversations or the track, but thank you for that. And, it gladdens my heart that ICSAN is also represented on the board of the CAC. And I think you have spoken through what this portends for us, because some of these things you have said could actually be put into the agenda of the board meeting and, set up, even board committees that would also take this at the CAC board level. So I won't even want to belabor this question, but it shows that there's a lot of work that can be done to elevate the conversations around the pain points we have in the governance space. So I would like us to pivot to the CAC technology and future of work. The CAC has effectively become a major technology gateway for businesses in Nigeria, from incorporation and filing to post-incorporation compliance. I would like you to tell us, Toluope, how you see technology transforming the Commission's role over the next 5 to 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It goes without, me even elaborating. AI is taking over our world. It's there on your phone. It's there in your face. Sometimes I look in the mirror, I'm like, Yola, which version of you is this? Certainly my version, not AI generated. So please tell us how this is going and what we can potentially, do in elevating this experience.
Okay, thank you very much. Looking to the future, in another 5-10 years, what do we hope to, using technology, where do we hope to have the Commission? Now, I can assure you that our pursuit is that in that time, that CAC will be an effective, we had the digital economic backbone, but will be an effective one by that time, over the next 5 to 10 years. We'll shift from a passive registry to a real-time data engine, not just collecting and storing data or maintaining as what we call custodians of data. No, will be a data engine that integrates seamlessly with several other data centers like the National Identity Management Commission for NIN, and other financial systems to power economic planning, credit scoring, and automated compliance tracking. We're already AI driven in some aspects. I mean, we're hoping to scale AI, across board, So at that time, we hope to be maintaining strategy centers on intelligent process automation, AI-powered document verification, scalable architecture to eliminate processing of backlogs, and to handle, because we also expect that there will be massive daily increase, a very rapid one in applications, because we expect that at that time, operations should be seamless. So you'll be having, because it's seamless and people can trust the system, a lot more people will come into the space, to do business, to register. So we're also hoping that at that time we would have applied technology to handle this massive daily volume effortlessly, And then when you talk about security and trust, the Commission would, by that time, have balanced and continue balancing efficiency with strict data protection compliance. I mean, people, the Commission is a data collector of significance, really, because if you know the number of and the volume of data we keep right now, the general public and those who submit this data to us must feel safe. Right,
Absolutely.
Submitting these things to us. We must protect this data, this information, the personally identifiable ones. Now, there are also regulations around that, so we would, while we are pursuing efficiency, automated service delivery, speed, and reducing costs, we'll also be mindful of the data protection regulations, and to be compliant with them, defense, in-depth cybersecurity, and then we also would have deployed a very robust digital identity verification tool that will help us prevent fraud and prevent beneficial ownership, protect beneficial ownership data, so that people don't just come in and steal company profiles and steal their information to go and use them, negatively. Now, our future role then will be as a data identity and identity platform. We hope to have achieved a real-time data layer, meaning we would have evolved into an active intelligence hub, that will feed national economic planning. So data that you need for national economic planning, for tax administration, across financial ecosystem verification. We hope we are hopeful, we are working towards that CAC will be the place to come, the central data hub for all other players in the financial ecosystem. By that time, we are working at it now. We are also hoping that we would have had an interoperable ecosystem, meaning we would have effortlessly connected with other data centers, like I mentioned earlier, NIMSI, for instance, FRS. We're connected with FRS at the time. Now the NRS, National Revenue Service, and other financial platforms like the NIBSS, people that keep information about the economy, about identity, and then we would also have transition from reactive manual checks to automated monitoring. I mean, such that it flags compliance anomalies. Where there are non-compliance issues, the system automatically flags it, and where there are beneficial ownership discrepancies, in the reports. We have the discrepancy reporting right now on the platform, but by then we would have enhanced it, because we would have been seamlessly connected to other data centers. I mean, other centers that keep information on persons' identities, then well, I think that is where we hope to be. 10 years is a long time. Maybe 5 years from now.
Awesome. And you just told my my next thoughts and question to you, because that would have been around how the commission is leveraging cybersecurity hygiene practices and cybersecurity governance models to also just keep things in check so that we don't just spiral out of control. Because as emerging technologies are getting advanced, of course, we know that cybersecurity issues are also coming in various dimensions. But I would just ask you to speak from the point of view of our stakeholders, that the users of CAC services. Are there thoughts or works in the pipeline on how to also sensitize and educate your users, your vendors or clients, so to speak, also within these emerging technologies governance system?
Yeah, it's been part of our framework generally. I mean, to hold constantly, regularly, what we call interactions forum with our stakeholders across Nigeria. So for every innovation, every transformation that happens at the CAC, we always make sure we push out information about it using all our social media handles, and even in the regular traditional media. We have syndicated programs with some broadcast stations like the TVC and a few others, NTA. We use all of this to push out information and to help our customers, the general public, with understanding the requirements of any reform we push out, any initiative. Right. In the next few weeks, we will be going to Lagos, Port Harcourt, and a few other places, to also talk about this. When we go to these cities, we, ahead of our coming, send out invitations to the professional groups in that city, the professional groups, the business communities and groups, trade groups, and all of that. So for them to send representatives to these meetings, the ICSAN would attest to that. I mean, when we go to Lagos, when we go to Port Harcourt, when we go to Kano, when we go to Enugu, and all these other major cities, the ICSAN is always represented, and the goal, because we cannot reach everybody, we cannot gather everybody, the goal is that when you work with these trade groups, these professional groups and business community representatives, they can then cascade whatever information, whatever discussions we have, to their members. And of course, we also have channels where people can reach us directly, for clarifications, for information, and for assist. If you have issues handling it. And beyond that, on the website, you always have manuals, and you also have the AI lawyer. We have that tool on the website. So you can ask the AI lawyer and it will help you, the legal assistant on the website. So we have this communication arrangement, so to say, that will help people understand how to use the technology and help you when you have issues. We try as much as possible to make all our platforms interactive enough for the ordinary user. Our target is simply the ordinary user who is not tech savvy. For people like you and maybe I and a few other people, it may not pose any problem. Well, we know that the majority of our users are not those kind of people. So we help. Yes, we have plans for do that. I will be doing that with other reforms and initiatives. We hope to continue doing that to drive it further deeper.
Awesome. I hope I'm still being heard. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Wow, I'm really enlightened, and I'm really, really happy and glad that the CAC Stakeholders Forum will always make a difference. And, bringing stakeholders together, unveiling upcoming plans, and above all, stakeholder sensitization, education, and empowerment, Right. So I really like that. Well done. Well done, sir. So we're going to take a leapfrog into ICSAN at 60 and the future of our
Oh,
partnership. We won't let you out of here without talking about ICSAN at 50, at 60. So ICSAN, as you're aware, is currently celebrating its 60th anniversary. From your perspective at the CAC, what contribution has ICSAN made to the development of corporate governance and professional practice in Nigeria over these 6 decades? See, we want to take our flowers from you, Mr. Toluope.
uh,
So we want you to tell us from your perspective, speaking as a leader and on behalf of the CAC. Please, there you go, sir.
yeah, thank you. Just like I said at the dinner we had here in commemoration of our anniversary, here in Abuja, 60 is not just the numbers. It's not just about celebrating 60. It's about celebrating 60 years of impact. 60 years of impact. Up until some 20 years back, I personally wasn't really aware of the impact or the role of the ICSAN. Now, in the last 2 decades or thereabout, right, ICSAN has been very, very visible. Very, very visible and very, very impactful. I make bold to say, with every sense of responsibility that we may know a lot of times we have this knowledge, but they are not structured. Right? For a lot of us in the regulatory sector, right, issues around corporate governance. For me, for instance, I assumed a better structure when I started to know about ICSAN and taking interest in what ICSAN was doing. I've been privileged and opportune to have been part of ICSAN by way of talking engagements since 20. This will be about 10 years now, about 12 years. And then I wasn't a member, but simply because I was a staff of the commission, anytime the ICSAN needed the commission to come and participate in 1 or 2 things, they always say to Lugo. So I was very privileged. And then I was careful not to celebrate my folly. Yes, I knew I was a regulator. People would look to me to say, no, this is a regulator, I must know. But when I started hearing professionals talking about corporate governance, I knew that, look, Tolu, you have not started, you are still doing press up. Now that is what ICSAN has done for many of us. A lot of people may not be bold enough to or humble enough to admit it, but that is the truth. We have this knowledge, yes, we have acquired them, but they are just scattered, not in any structured form. And it's easier to apply knowledge when you have a structure to it. So ICSAN has helped, brought structure, meaning to corporate governance in Nigeria. There's no disputing that. If you have attended their courses, when you see people speak, you know the perspective and you understand things better. Right. So both for practitioners and for business operators, business owners, and for the ordinary person, if you have interacted with ICSAN, you find that when you leave, you are living with confidence. You now think, I know this thing very well now, right? And then you can speak with confidence. That's what it has done for me. So I imagine also that it has deepened the understanding of the governance landscape in Nigeria, right? When you talk about ICSAN now, you speak about, if I remember, you speak about ICSAN with pride. I know how many people in my office today have been clamoring to join ICSAN. The only challenge for them, right? At this level is the fast track they want to explore. Now, the only challenge for them is the cost, right? So I also told them that you were late in body. When this ship was setting sail, this thing was very, 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 very nominal. Where were you? But in spite of that cost, a lot of them still gather money, to explore that fast track, go through the intensive training for that period, and then become members. Like I told you, look at the number before. The one I knew was just 1. Now, as I speak, I know we have, like I said, over 40. members. Now, those are the ones that are actively on our platform. We have those who have left the system, the commission, who are not on the platform, but they are still members. But they joined while they were in the commission. And the commission is encouraging a lot more people to join. Again, because we have seen that collaboration, that ICSAN membership and knowledge is important to our work. We administer the act. You pull professionals together who play in the space that we administer. So over these 6 decades, let me even speak of the last 3 decades that I know. You have been a very, very strategic partner. There's no denying that. And I think a recognition of that is bringing you back on the board. You were there before. At some point, I don't know what happened in the 1990 Kama that they left you out again. But in that period, it became evident that, listen, you cannot be making rules about corporate governance in Nigeria. And those who run the hub in Nigeria are not in the room. They are not at the table. So it's a good thing that you are back on the board. And we also expect that your coming back will be to add value, and help us with regulations. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Sonaike Toluope.
Thank you very much.
Even allow you to, because you've touched on my next question, which was going to be me asking what you believe, the greatest opportunities for a deeper ICSAN CAC partnership come the next, decade. You started with very glowing comments about our achievements as the Corporate Governance Hub, as an institute that is 360 in all dimensions, in the look, the feel, the professionals, I'll call us the nation builders, business builders you find, the professional builders you find in ICSAN. ICSAN is a rich ecosystem. So what would you think are the greatest opportunities for our partnership with the CAC? Maybe if you can just give me like 2-3 points, that would be
not
awesome.
a problem. Maybe if I just explore one, that may even be enough, and connected. Now, for me, just picking up off, what I would like to see is for ICSAN to help CAC, right, to become an effective regulator, a regulator that you can respect and look to for directions. Now, how does this happen? A lot of our members use the services of the commission.
Yes.
Right. A number of the challenges we have today is because of knowledge gap, so to speak. It's just knowledge gap, not just with the operator or the customer, but also within the system, CAC. Right. So it will be nice. I would want to see that the institute has been intentional in identifying those areas where capacity should be enhanced, where knowledge should be enhanced.
Wow.
Right? Not just for our users, the commission's service users, but also for the commission staff itself. And how do we do this? If we interact enough with our members, we can share their experiences. What has been your experience over time interacting with CAC? Right? There may be some things that we're not doing right. The fact that we're regulators does not mean we know best in the system. No. Now, a good regulator, an effective one, is one that understands the mind of the operators, the people you are regulating, the landscape, the operating landscape, and you are open, willing, receptive to feedback, whether it's by criticism or whether it's by applause. It shouldn't matter. The bottom line is, I hear you, and I think we can do this better. And let's work together to do it better. So I would like that kind of collaboration. We have one or two other institutes groups that will do that from time to time at no cost. They come and they say, this is what they have observed. And we sit down and we look at it, we talk. And then we go away, we take our notes and take the learnings, and we go back and improve the system. Now, I would also like ICSAN to take a front seat in this area. Help us identify what those common things are, what we are not doing right, what you think, and share ideas. How do you think we can do this better? Good thing, ICSAN is in the room now. Good thing, ICSAN is at the table. Right?
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a difficult thing. You don't need to struggle to enter. You're already inside. And you are not just inside. At the level you have come in, is at the level of policy making and decision making. So, I mean, I would like that ICSAN will leverage that, right, to be more impactful in the business, to the business community. I would like that. Then what you can also do again, I mean, ICSAN is, we have a lot of trainings that we give people, that we offer others. Perhaps you can also help determine specialized trainings for CAC.
Okay.
It's difficult to come by. The trainings we usually see are just general, training, right? But specialized training will be nice. Again, you can, this can be something that you also develop from your feedback, from your members' feedback. Identifying areas where you think we should be talking to the CAC. We can help build capacity here. Exactly. So that it is strategic. We are intentional about it. That way, you will see more impact. You experience CAC better as a regulator. So those would be my thoughts. Right.
Thank you. I mean, these are very, very high level, impactful suggestions you've made. And I can assure you that we are listening. We're learning citadel. So this is what we would definitely do and take on board. And because you are part of us, it's very easy to hold us accountable to these great recommendations you've made. And they're very important. Capacity building, presenting, ecosystem impact. It's really what it is. That's, my summary of what you have said. And then I want to quickly move on to ask that as ICSAN marks this important milestone, right? What would you also consider as a good, outside of the things you have said, right? Outside of the things you have said, what do you think we can also achieve together that will be a measurable difference to businesses and governance in Nigeria? It's like now I'm taking us very high, very, very high level on states of the nation. ICSAN, CAC, what can we do to change the narrative together?
Now that's a big one. That's a big one. Because the strategic role of the institute in the attainment of Commission's mandate is statutorily favored. I mean, because now you are recognized and you are one of the 3 professional groups to be recognized by CAMA. I mean, aside you, when I say you, ICSAN, I mean chartered secretaries. You have chartered accountants, and then you have lawyers, who are not chartered, but they are learned. Yeah? Okay. Now, and then our interest generally is the duty to ensure that companies and corporate bodies within the scope of our mandate are properly managed to deliver value, right, to their various communities and stakeholders. Now, what I would consider, right, as a measurable milestone would be that, one, we don't have too many of our members, when I say members, I mean accredited agents in the CAC, applying on the platform of ICSAN. Again, because most of the members of ICSAN are either lawyers or accountants. Yeah. Now, they would rather apply on the platform of law, NBA, or ICSAN or ANEN. Right? Now, something that is easily measurable will be to see a significant growth in the number of our professionals, right, who are coming into the space to help businesses with advisories, with company corporate company secretarial services. With company management. The only way you can do that is to see an increase in the number of our members, people who gladly and proudly register as ICSAN members to become accredited agents. At that time, we would have taken ICSAN to a place of pride.
Yes.
Right? Where you are in the room, yes, you command the same respect as the accountant and as the lawyer, because we have members who are not accountants and who are not lawyers. Right? If they are able, if they are good enough and found fit and proper to practice as chartered secretaries, then they should wear that with pride.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we need to take ICSAN to that point where everybody respects you, if not more, or at least equally as the other professionals who are in the room.
Thank you.
That is
really
one where we can measure easily. Yes. Yes. So that's just what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, that's really strategic enough. And I see a huge opportunity there for us to evolve and ensure that everyone is wearing an ICSAN label because it's this prestigious, it's impactful. And above all, I believe that it presents an opportunity to also change the narrative. So if it's up to us, if it's going to be, it's really up to us. Now, this is my final question. And it's almost like asking you for a take-home, right? You're aware that ICSAN has a bill at the National Assembly for a name change from the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria to the CGIN, Chartered Governance Institute of Nigeria. All we're trying to do is just to, evolve the brand, make the brand stronger, and really project the identity. Like you said, we have a lot of members. They are not necessarily secretaries. They are lawyers, they are administrators, they are accountants, they are business owners, they are entrepreneurs, they are, even academia. Everyone is represented in ICSAN. So what I just wanted to ask is, this is a very soft one. What will you say? How do we move this process at the National Assembly? What can you say or give as a commitment, either personally or with CAC support or within your own rich network? Because I know you have a very rich network. You can't be, managing the entire compliance network of Nigeria. It's an entire ecosystem and not have that. So I just want that sweet commitment from you, Toluope, to say, this is what I will also be doing in getting the CGIN bill signed into law. It's been a process, it's been a journey. And the icing on the cake for ICSAN at 60 would have been for us to just receive the good news that our bill has been passed into law, the president has consented, and then we're good to launch our new name. So what do you think you can give back? Your entire ecosystem, from the CAC perspective, anything at all.
Okay. Of course, that I cannot make any commitment by way of statement as it were now. But one thing I will say again, I can't over-iterate it, is that good thing is that ICSAN is at the table here in CAC, and ICSAN is sitting right with those that make decisions at the CAC, right? And then there are other people in the room who also play in the ecosystem, that we can speak to while at the CAC table. Now, the bill is not just about changing name. I see it as more far-reaching than that. The bill is about taking charge, taking responsibility for governance in Nigeria, right? You need an institute that would take responsibility for governance in Nigeria. So when you just say Institute of Chartered Administrators and Secretaries, again, it's difficult for a lot of people to relate that with governance. So you just simplify it by saying Chartered Institute of Governance Institute of Nigeria, right? CG. CGN. Right now, it is important to all practitioners, like you just mentioned. It's not only owned, so to say, by lawyers or by chartered accountants. If there's any profession that has the widest participation, it's ICSAN.
Yes.
Lawyers are there, accountants are there, people from every other field of practice.
Yeah.
We'll have one or two people there. So it's something to be owned by all. So we need to push that knowledge out.
Absolutely.
Everybody is a stakeholder. We need to put that knowledge out and then get everybody, whatever class we have, whatever interventions we can put, get everybody
so
to push this. One other thing I can also advise, and that's by reason of my experience with the National Assembly, particularly when doing the KAMA 2020, is to make sure that we are always on hand to provide clarifications. I remember at the time of we're working on the bill, the Companies and Allied Matters bill, before it became law. I practically moved my office to the National Assembly. You know, I will resume with them. In fact, my CEO then actually will tell you, I don't want to see you in the office.
Wow.
So by 9 o'clock I'm there. They may not start there sitting until 1, 2. Okay, well, I mean, you are the ones who want it, so be available. Right? I will sit in the chamber while they are talking about it. And when I see that, maybe they are not understanding one thing or the other, what I do is find a way to get them together to, yes, make them have a better understanding. Right? People cannot appreciate what they don't understand.
True.
Right?
True.
So we need to be available. Always be available at National Assembly to follow and to monitor every stage of the way. When they also notice that you are always in their faces, you know, it's just like the biblical judge. Even though I don't fear God, I may not even like this woman, but this woman that is always coming to stay at my gates, always follow me everywhere. She may just exhaust me with her pleas and all of that. So let me just give it to her so that I can have peace. That's also another strategy. You know, that's another strategy. That's what I can say. I can say, and then at our own level, at my past, whatever we can do at our own level. Now, this is personal. This is not safe. We'll do.
Thank you so much for sharing the responsibility, and that's a fair point, because if there's going to be a change, it's up to all of us. I mean, now that you're talking, I just remember that I have a few friends at the National Assembly too. Former classmates. And I've never honestly thought of talking to them. But with this challenge, throwing it back at us, we're just going to amplify this conversation further. And thank you. This is a powerful excerpt that I know will be amplifying in the coming day, because CJ must happen. Thank you so much, Sonaike. So we have been talking to an amiable gentleman, a senior leader, and our own friend and member. Toluope Sonaike is currently the head of the Registry Department of the Corporate Affairs Commission, also a notable influencer at ICSAN, a distinguished member, and the one you just love to talk to because he's always present whenever ICSAN calls. Thank you so much for this investment of your time today.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best. We know that when we come calling again, you will answer. Thank you for accepting to feature on this show. As such, it's more, as such short notice. Thank you so much. I want to say bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.